Do you know what a creel is? C-R-E-E-L?
C-R-E-E-L.
It's an object. It's a
No, I
thing.
don't. Not at all.
A fish basket.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
for
you're a fish
trout-
basket man?
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Airdrie Inside. I'm your host, Chris Glass, and I'm here with Dr. Cody Creelman. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Oh, Cody, please. You don't have to call me doctor.
Well, we were just talking about the genesis of the name Creelman.
Yes.
So I guess I could call you Dr. Fish Basket.
Exactly. The fish basket man.
If you
Absolutely.
go back far enough, that was the original translation.
Exactly.
Cody, welcome to the show.
No, thank you. Great venue here today.
Yeah, this is our first time filming outside, and the wind hasn't been too bad. We've got some nice sun, and we're here at the Nose Creek Amphitheater, which is kind of an iconic Airdrie
Exactly.
establishment. So it's great to be here today.
And then we got my two kids fishing right
Fishing
there.
off the dock behind us, so we can keep everybody all in the same area. It's nice.
Love it.
Cody, talk to me about what you do here in Airdrie.
Yeah, so I'm a veterinarian. We have a practice here called Fen Vet. We're just on Main Street, right across from the Walmart, and I've been operating that for the last several years.
Now, I have a bit of a personal story about Fen
Yes,
Vet.
okay.
So not our vet originally.
Yep.
And we had lost our dog. She had spent a day on the loose and had a very serious paw injury. And our vet was not able to see them at the time. And we ran to Fen Vet because, we're panicked and we're trying to figure out what's wrong with her arm. And we had just spent 48 hours looking for the poor thing.
Right.
And your staff couldn't have been kinder or nicer and more caring. And it was such a different experience than I've ever had at a vet before. So when Britt suggested you were coming on to the show and said you'd make a great guest, there was a real personal side of it to me that
Amazing.
really wanted to thank you and your staff here in Airdrie for what they meant to our family when we really needed it.
No, that's
So-
incredible. Thank you for sharing that.
Tell me a little bit about Fen Vet.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been a veterinarian in Airdrie since 2011. So I'm originally from northern Alberta.
Okay.
And we kind of ended up in the Calgary area just by accident. So in my final year of vet school, we were doing some car camping and we drove from Saskatoon and the plan was to go to Kelowna.
Yep.
And we were going to camp out of the back of our Honda Civic. Okay. So my wife and I got as far as Calgary and the forest fires were horrendous, and we decided maybe we shouldn't cross the mountains to just go sit and smoke for the next week, so let's stay here. And from being up in northern Alberta, I had really never been to Calgary. Like, even though I'm
Right.
from Alberta, Edmonton was far enough. When you're from that far north, it just Edmonton is as far as you get. So it was my first time being in the Calgary area, and I just fell in love. And so
Right.
when I was ready to graduate from vet school, I started looking around this area exclusively, found a job in Airdrie. So just kind of by chance, good luck, ended up here and have been here ever since.
And then, so you go from, were you working as a veterinarian here in Airdrie?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had been a veterinarian here, and in 2019, I had left that practice, and my family and I, we'd actually took a little bit of time off just to kind of reconnect and travel a little bit. My kids were 3, 6, and 4 months old, and we just traveled around the US for about 5 months before COVID hit. Okay. But in that time was this kind of like transition period for my family of like, what are we going to do next?
Yeah.
And it was in that time when we really started to think about that there might be a better opportunity to create a different type of vet clinic. This, blue ocean opportunity to me that's centered around a 7-star customer experience and an amazing practice culture. So that is the backbone, the core values of our practice. And from there, everything else just kind of unfolded. So the name Fen isn't anything special to the rest of the world, but it's very special to me. It's just the initials of my kids, Fia,
wow.
Emerson, and Neve. And from there, we started looking into, well, what does Fen mean? And it was this biodiverse ecosystem and, this meadow in the woods. And from there, I was just like, well, the branding just makes itself. Let's focus on amazing customer experience, this thing that I thought was lacking in the pet healthcare space,
Right.
and make it a really great place for people to work. And then on top of that, you know, we thought, why not Airdrie? Airdrie is as good a place as any to try to launch this new experiment. So we launched during COVID, one of the wildest times for any small business to do anything, right? And now fast forward, you know, 5 years later, Airdrie has been such an incredible community to us. Like, I can't believe the response. I'll give you a little inside baseball. Okay. So based off of my initial predictions that I made for my business plan for the bank, right? You got to like put together market penetration and, you know, how many customers you think you're going to get for geography. And so by this time, we should have, for as long as we've been open, we should have about 3,600 customers. Okay. Fen Vet Airdrie currently has 12,000 customers. Wow. So we have the vast majority of dogs and cats in the city that we care for now.
Well, and like I said, from my personal experience, it was so different from any other veterinary experience I've had. So first things first, and it's going to sound like I'm a shill for your business, but I swear to God, we never met before this. First things first, when I walked in, it looked different. Mm-hmm. So that had to have been a conscious decision. So what went into the design of the actual business, the shop? So
the design is just, you know, a really great visual representation for everything that we did with Fen Vet. Essentially, we just built everything from the ground up from first principles. We took nothing that was like mainstream or traditional veterinary, because if I'm trying to build something that is new, that has never been done before, we can't look at what everybody else has done. So every little detail is truly from scratch, including the design, just thinking of not how does everybody else do a vet clinic, but how would I build a vet clinic around those two core principles to support amazing practice or amazing customer experience and amazing practice culture. So when you walk into a Fen Vet from a design perspective, the biggest thing that we had focused on is how do you as the customer feel when you walk inside? What does that vet clinic sound like? There's no phones ringing. We have, you know, this ambient, beautiful classical music played. What does a vet clinic smell like? Well, traditionally, a vet clinic smells like iodine and dog piss, right? at Fen Vet, it smells like sandalwood and sea salt. Yeah. And then that aesthetic, like this really, do you want this really like clinical stainless steel, bright fluorescent lights, boring exam rooms? Or when you walk into Fen Vet, this experience where you feel like you're going to the dog spa, right?
Yeah. Well, one thing that really came to note for me, there's two types of visits to the vet. The routine visit, where you're coming for a checkup, and that's all well and good. But the other time, you're under extreme emotional distress in the most of the time. Mm-hmm. I was, for sure. I was in tears. My wife was in tears. Your staff did such a good job of calming us down. What goes into making that decision to create a situation that's more calming? Is that the intent? Is knowing that people are going to be in such a highly volatile emotional state to bring them down and calm them down?
I think it really just stems from the people that we put into that practice, right? Yeah. So I started storytelling this like genesis right from the very beginning, right before we had our single first employee. I started telling my story on Facebook, saying like how I thought about the industry, and started attracting like-minded veterinary professionals towards Fen Vet, right? And by hiring them, you know, they are pet owners too. We understand what it means to be on that side. Just because we're in the profession, we know what it means when your dog blows its knee out and it needs surgery. We understand what it's like to say goodbye to a loved one. Yeah. So from there really is no pre-planning. It is putting in the right people to be able to to understand what that expectation is, and that expectation is that 7-star customer experience. Everything just comes from the mission. It is almost shocking at how little pre-planning we put in terms of like there's no scripting, there's no SOPs. Like my team knows that I am like anti-SOP. Like they have to like make like sneaky SOPs around anything when it comes to our practice operations, because I firmly believe if every employee understands our mission, if it doesn't support our mission, because that's at the end of the day, that is the answer to every question you could ever have, is in your mission. And I feel like a lot of small businesses miss that mark, right?
Right.
They feel like they have to do a mission statement. They have to understand, their vision. But they don't really understand that that is the answer to every single question you have. So that's essentially, to boil it all down, what my team does. They just think in every single moment, is this something that supports a great customer experience for the people that are in this practice?
So this is the third time we've been talking for maybe 15 minutes tops, but this is the third time you've credited your staff back with the success of your business. It seems to me that that's a really good reflection of the culture there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is all about the team. And we've gotten that comment many times of people coming in. We have OG clients who've been coming for 5 years that have never met me. That like, it's not, and that was something that was really important to me as well, is I didn't want to just build a business around me, my personality, my medicine, because I can't scale that. I can't sustain that. I can't help 12,000 pets, right? I have to be able to rely on that team. So my biggest job was just assembling the Avengers and giving them the, the space and the resources to be able to do the thing that they are amazing at doing.
How many Fen Vets do we have now?
So we have 3. Okay. So Airdrie was our original location. And then that one was gangbusters. It was, during COVID was actually really good time in terms of growth for
everybody
veterinary
bought
medicine.
a dog.
Exactly. Everybody bought a dog, right? And I had this vision of looking at downtown Calgary as another great practice location. There didn't seem like there was anything that was, competition from that regard. And I knew that if we could make it in that specific geography, that it would allow us to consider scaling at some point. So we did the second location. The second location was a disaster. It's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
It is just like the construction was awful. The build out was awful. We were incredibly delayed. We got so far behind. The growth had slowed. We're in a recession, like all of those things in comparison to the first location. But that said, we ended up opening a third location last year. And this one was more built around a group of passionate people. So this one, we pivoted a little bit, not necessarily looking at companion animal medicine, so helping cats and dogs, but around horses.
Wow.
So there was a couple of individuals within the practice that were really great at cats and dogs, but also super passionate about equine medicine. So I decided to build a practice around them. So we've got an equine reproduction facility in Carstairs. This is our second year we've been running that one.
Carstairs.
Yeah, that's been a really, really fun one. The second location is great too. I spent a lot of time there. It's been lovely, but it was the hardest one by far.
But you hear that from a lot of entrepreneurs.
Oh, for sure.
That second,
oh my goodness,
second location is the one that's the hardest, right? Because that's not a unique story. So
and I knew everybody told me that it was going to be a hard one, and I'm like, I know, I'm ready for it. I had no idea.
Let's talk about the industry as a whole.
Yes.
You were motivated to do something different. What did you see as gaps in the industry before?
Okay, so we'll get to that, but like even on a deeper level, I think the biggest motivation for me in thinking the way that I do is I just love this profession with my whole heart.
Yeah.
From the first time that I walked into a vet clinic at 16 years old, I have never wanted to do anything else. Like I don't have hobbies. I don't like anything else. I just love being a veterinarian. I love being in vet clinics. To me, it is like Disneyland or Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Right.
So in that passion and loving what I do so much, I also have always been worried about like, what if there's a paradigm shift? What if there is, the industry fragments and there's a new veterinary medicine on the other side, and I never wanted to be left behind. So I've always been obsessed with thinking about the future of veterinary medicine, the next paradigm shift of veterinary medicine. So because I want to be not necessarily the one that is the innovative one that causes the shift, but at least I want to be an early adopter to be on that other side, because this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I love being a veterinarian. So in that, just thinking about, well, what opportunities do exist? And I kept obsessing over this concept around this blue ocean opportunity that existed, that I just didn't feel like anybody else within the profession worldwide was thinking about.
Right.
And that was really amazing customer service, because I feel like the status quo is your pet is sick, your pet comes in, I make a diagnosis, I give you a prescription, or we do diagnostics, I give you a plan, and that should be good enough, right?
Yeah.
That's the industry standard, that you should be very happy when you walk out of my practice because I fixed your pet. And who cares how you felt in that moment? If you felt shy, if you felt unclear, if it was dingy and dirty, like, I fixed your pet, that should be good enough. And that's not good enough for me, right?
Yeah.
I want you to feel warm and fuzzy. I want you to have the Disneyland effect when you walk out of my practices, right? I want you to just be blown away, just shaking your head, being like, I cannot believe I've been going to the status quo my entire life. Why didn't this exist before for me? So when a customer walks into our practice and experiences us at our best, and we do make mistakes, there's no question, right? But when you experience us at our best, you're coming back. Yeah,
it's beyond a shadow of a doubt that I'm now a customer for life, right? Like, because there's moments that, like I said, you're in a state of vulnerability that you're not used to, right? Because they are family members. Sure. You don't own a dog, you have a dog in your family. And that experience left me going, this is where I'm taking my animals from now on. So it was mission accomplished with me at the 2 times I came by.
Well, for me, so my kids always get annoyed when they ask me what my favorite animal is. And I always say it's humans, right? And you would assume as a veterinarian that I would just be animal obsessed, with which obviously I am.
Of course.
But that human side is so incredibly important for me. That connection, that cup filling that I get when I go into an appointment and I learn about somebody's life story. I'm notorious for being like, okay, yeah, your dog's going to be fine. It's kennel cough. I'll get the scripts together. So tell me about the time that you defected from Cuba, right? Like that's why I love being a veterinarian so much, right? Is that human connection.
I can't believe you used that, because I know you were talking about a person, but the 2 dogs I brought into your establishment both defected from Cuba. They're both Cuban rescue dogs. So the fact that you picked that example out to use is mind-blowing to me.
Oh, I love it.
So I have 2 Cuban dogs and a regular Canadian dog. You were talking about a person, but yes. So
but those types of stories, I love so much, and that connection with our customers, and that's what fills my cup, and that's what fills my team's cup. And it is rewarding to help a pet. There's no question, right? But what we do is I view us as a profession as an anxiety reliever of human beings, right? And that broad effect that has is really important as well. So it's not just that you came in and I helped one of your pets get better, is I allowed you to stop worrying about that, so you could go be your best self, so you could go be coach on the field and affect that next great NFL star, right? So you as a nurse at the children's hospital cannot be worried that Fluffy's okay, and you're gonna go in and give your best at your next shift to help that sick kid who's dying from cancer, or that teacher to go in and inspire those next kids. And you think about, we affect, as veterinarians, thousands of people every single year, giving them hope, giving them, that anxiety relief that their pet's going to be okay, or even if their pet's not going to be okay, that they know that there's a path, and they know that their pet isn't going to suffer.
And
we've said a beautiful goodbye together. But if each one of us in our practice helps thousands of people every single year, and those thousands of people go and help thousands of people every single year, you are literally changing the lives of millions of people over the course of your career. And that's how I think about this profession, which is profound to me.
You know, it's funny. I'm a huge fan of Simon Sinek's work.
Yes.
I had the ability to meet him once when I worked with WestJet in a previous career. And I can see people who can talk about the business they're in, and they talk about it with passion and commitment. And there's almost one constant that's always there, is they never talk about how profitable the business is. It's never about money.
Right.
It's about, you want to change lives through veterinary medicine. Other people want to do it in another way, but you seem to have a really good sense of why you're here on this planet.
Right. Yeah.
So that really comes across very profound to me.
Well, I love every aspect of it, like I said. And even before, you have this like feeling of what am I doing? Because I've asked myself, like, what am I doing with my life? Is this a worthy endeavor for the rest of my life? I'm not making humanity multi-planetary, right? I'm not solving for free energy. I'm not creating, a nuclear power plant. So but what we are doing, I think, is important and is significant. But before that, the reason that I truly fell in love with veterinary medicine at the beginning was I love the chaos. I love going to work every day and having no idea what's going to happen. Right. It is the best part. Like, I could not be the person that goes into the factory every day and just like puts a nut on a bolt, right? Oh my goodness, no, absolutely not.
I often say if I ever won the lottery, I'd go back to my very first job in the aviation as a ticket agent at the airport, because for that same reason, you have no idea what to expect. You can either walk into the smoothest day possible or absolute chaos, and you never knew.
No, absolutely. Yeah, and every day is like that. Like, I literally just thinking about yesterday, one of the craziest, hardest days that I've ever seen our Airdrie location go through. We probably said goodbye to 6 pets that day.
Oh, no.
Multiple pets at the same time, emergencies coming in, CPR, like just endless, ongoing, and watching my team handle that with absolute compassion and grace for everybody that, that touched our business that day. That's way more rewarding than the money side.
What do you do for your staff on a day like that? Like, there must be some trauma that comes from that experience as well.
Right. So always a good start, getting them some lunch, a big group platter from Petite Saigon or something like that, right?
Hen was a guest on our show last week.
It's one of my team's favorite go-tos, right? The big family platter. But the biggest thing is not just what do you support them on the day of. There's nothing that you can do the day of. It's how do you prepare them before, right? How are they connected to each other before? How are they being supportive before? How are they, are they compensated? Are they worrying about their benefits? Are they worried about their flexibility, their vacation, their recharging, their refreshing? Right. All of that pre-game is what is most important. The day of, if you don't have all of that in a row, there's nothing that you can do to support, right?
Right.
So it's all the hard work that comes in beforehand.
Doctor, you're absolutely changing the way veterinarian medicine is done, and it's affected me personally, so I wanted to thank you for that, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you and the future for Fen Vet.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you for joining us here on Airdrie Inside. We're going to be back with more episodes shortly. Thank you.